Always takes a while to get them going. Can you get your stream going? That's what your morning talk. Can you get your stream going? Come on, YouTube, you can do it. You can make it. Make it happen, YouTube. There we go. All online. Well, Twitch is taking a while. As always. Twitch, what are you doing, man? Why does it take Twitch so very long to get going? I don't understand what takes Twitch so long. This guy can't tell me. He doesn't even have a name. What do we call him? That's the question of the morning. What do we call the dancing coffee cup? What kind of name do we give this guy? I don't know. We got a ton on the list today. Got a lot of stuff on the list. What is going on in the world is what we want to know. What's the cyber haps for the day? You guys may notice my Illy coffee is in a brand new cup. I'm waiting forever for these things to come in. Got them all the way from Casper, Wyoming. Custom made. Check this out. These are the new red cups. So this is the Remember Everyone deployed red coffee cup. It's got the red logo on the one side and it's got the cyber on the other. Kind of cool. They came in. I don't know if I'm going to sell them though. I don't know if they're going to go for sale because by the time they got cut, by the time I bought the cup, these are Arctic cups. They're not Yetis, but they're still pretty pricey. So by the time they got that, the shipping, putting the laser on this side, putting the laser on that side, I think they're too expensive to sell. I don't want you guys to pay that much. So they'll probably be gifts. We'll probably give them away. They'll probably be part of your trivia night, part of that kind of stuff. But man, they're cool cups. They seal so well that if you have the lid closed, it physically won't go down. It'll pop back up. They're really, really good cups. And it's been hot coffee, hot illy, fresh steaming coffee for the last hour and a half in this thing. Whatever's left is what I've got left. It is a good morning, as Kevin says. Good morning, Kevin. It's nice to see you this morning. I see people are starting to get on, starting to jump on to the stream. What do we have? What's on the docket for today? Financials are spending more money because of COVID. Guess, surprise, surprise. There's a new defense method for defending Internet of Things. You know that I know you know. I know that we know. We always talk about IoT. IoT is huge in the world. My favorite group, CISA, the DoD and the FBI are in the news for talking about I'm going to air quote it, new malware out there. I love when they throw the new malware to get you to bite on the news story. But it's worth talking about. It isn't new, but the article's going to say it's new. So they're warning about that. There's a new Chinese, that's a new one, and that's from Chinese, the new Chinese malware. FBI also is warning about a new e-commerce fraud scheme coming at you. They captured, global manhunt, global rundown to catch the folks that breached the Twitter accounts of very many VIPs to try to get you to double your Bitcoin. Obviously, a huge scam, a crazy, crazy scam. And today, we're going to celebrate the birthday of the U.S. Coast Guard. That's not a weird holiday of the day, and I'm giving it to you up front. Normally, I don't give you the holiday till the end, but today we're going to do it up front because it is the Coast Guard, founded this day, 1790, a long time ago. Talk about Coast Guard stuff when we get to the end of the show. So that's what's coming up. Paul is here this morning. Obviously, good to see you too, Paul. Folks jumping on the stream. Glad you guys could be here. It is early, 7:30 East Coast time. So early I can't even talk this morning. As you move west, earlier and earlier and earlier. So, Stuff to talk about today. So we'll throw the promo up there. We'll throw the intro in, and that'll let me move some stuff around. So hang out for just a second, and we'll be right back. Back at you. Okay, what a rundown we got to talk about today. And we go in waves. These stories always are running in waves. They are kind of all associated. So today we got a lot of announcements. So a lot of announcements, a lot of not necessarily deep technical stuff like we had yesterday. But we have a lot of folks announcing stuff, giving you data, giving you the info you need to go out there as a security and risk professional. Start your day, have something to talk about at the water cooler, answer those questions as they're coming to you. So we'll talk out. We'll talk out. We're going to talk about FSISAC, Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center. It's called the FSISAC. There's all kinds of ISACs out there. There's one for the medical and pharmaceutical companies. There's ISACs out there. They're just places where that group of organizations get together to talk about security. So it's an information sharing center. It's where a lot of financials get together, and they're going to talk about what's going on in their world, in the world of financial services. So this is things like hedge funds, brokerage houses, banks sometimes. Any organization that deals with financials, a lot of them are part of FSISAC. So they're running the stats of what the numbers were. So prior to the pandemic, financial institutions paid $2,700 per full-time employee per year. That's about $400 from the year before. And the article doesn't give an exact number, but it says organizations are doubling down. So we're assuming, I don't think it's double the money, but it's increasing the budget for cyber because of the pandemic. And we can see that there's more remote workers, there's more fraud coming at the end users, there's more phishing attempts, and we're going to talk about that later. There's a lot more just attacks coming at us, and the surface we have, because a lot of people are remote now, is expanded beyond the walls of the organization. So we've got to tie down how we're going to do security. It changes things a little bit. Let me keep an eye on. I think Restream is doing a little better, but we got to keep an eye on it. Make sure I'm not missing your comments. So, who is the story by? You may be asking, and I'm going to say the same thing. This story, SC Media brought us this story this morning. So this is the third annual report from Deloitte, Deloitte & Touche, and FSISAC. Found that budgets for cyber are increasing to about 10.9% of the overall IT budget is up from 10.1%. So almost a full percentage up from the last year. And this is from information gathered from 53 financial institutions. So article says COVID-19 has resulted in vast changes in the financial sector cybersecurity challenge. Looking ahead, given the tough microeconomic conditions rising from COVID-19 pandemic, many companies will likely be taking a hard look to whether they need to cut expenses across the board, the report stated. It went on to say, financial institutions, however, should be particularly judicious before making a reduction in cybersecurity budgets, given the increased push towards digitization and the challenge that are raised by new, often remote work environments, as well as the increased insider threats, cyber risk confronting most organizations are intensifying. And I think we can all say that. So there's a whole new set of challenges that are facing our cyber, our risk, our security professionals, right? Not everybody's in our four walls. People are distributed. They're coming across a remote connection. Maybe they're using a BYOD device or bring your own device to connect into the network. Maybe they're using some type of virtualized server, serving up a screen scrape of a workstation to them remotely. there's just going to be a bunch of new challenges. And because these folks are at home, they can't be, I hate to say it, but they can't be monitored as much to prevent them from taking pictures of their screens or sharing information with someone else. So there is new challenges. Insider threat, like the article says, it's terribly a big point now. If you take an organization like a hedge fund, a lot of their information, a lot of their power, where their money comes from, is the knowledge that they get for trading. And a lot of that's done by quants, quantum mathematics to produce a trade that's going to front run the actual wave of the buying trend, right? That's what a lot of these hedge funds do. That mathematical formula, that intellectual property, is the secret sauce that makes that hedge fund better than another hedge fund. If they lose that, man, it could be the ends for them. So protecting that intellectual property is the important thing, right? And that's what these folks need to think about before they start slashing their IT budgets, their security budgets. And we see it time and time again. The budgets will get slashed. There'll be a major hack. They'll dump a bunch of money into cyber, and then they'll be back on it. Alex with us this morning. Good morning, Alex. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. Here's the challenges that have been found in this report, and these are not going to surprise you. So, they're trying to get better control over the end user environments. And where were the challenges? In here somewhere, one of the challenges, the important part I was trying to drive to, is just trying to get the workforce in, right? One of the challenges in this world is trying to get trained, educated, skilled cybersecurity professionals to the field. We know there's a shortage. There's already a shortage, and it's not getting easier. That's why we meet every morning to talk about security, talk about this stuff, because the more we know, the more we can share with people, the more people can grow, the more we can understand it. So, another important thing that came out of this article, with lines blurred among employees, customers, contractors, partners, vendors, in general, firms should consider implementing zero trust principles for access, since the organization's perimeter is essentially gone. Every transaction involving flow of data, whether it's been through the networks, applications, users, devices, workloads, should be controlled for least privilege access. And zero trust is one of the things I think we have to drive to. So as a community, we've got to drive to zero trust. In the past, and we've talked about this, in the past, the networks have been these defensive firewalls and IDSs and stuff at the perimeter. And then as you go towards the center, things get less hard. They become gooey, that gooey center with the hard, crunchy shell. So if we get through the shell, if we get through the perimeter defenses, then as an attacker, once we get inside, we can bounce around, do what we want. We move laterally. So this zero trust principle means that we don't trust anyone. We don't trust any system. We don't trust any application. There's zero trust. So if somebody breaches a server, it's going to be hard to move laterally around the organization, because server A doesn't really necessarily trust server B, other than for a very finite defined set of rules that allow communications between them based on what the two servers are doing. So there's not this throw a server on the network, because it's on the inside, we trust it, and just open everything up to make sure it works. It's going to be a lot harder for the IT folks to build servers correctly, because we, as security folks, the risk folks, the cyber people, have to be standing there saying, you have to build it this way. We have a baseline. We have a benchmark. Maybe we follow the Center for Internet Security. Maybe we follow the DoD STIG or the Security Technical Implementation Guide. Maybe we follow our own guidance, but we have a set of rules, and we've got to stand on those. We've got to stand on them and say, secure your stuff. We can't keep letting people get away with building stuff only partway secure. In this zero trust model that we have to be moving to, we don't trust other devices, other people, other applications. Companies should digitally enable their cyber function to improve agility and automation, weaving security by design principles into IT service development, and embedding security requirements into architecture and design stages of software development life cycles help companies get ahead. Right. In this point, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this already. We build security into applications. We build security into systems from the beginning. The system owners, the IT folks, don't know that, though, and they fight that every time. We need to be involved early. We need to be there at the kickoff of the meeting. We need to kick off. We need to talk about the system when it's being built so that we can get the security controls in place. They can build them. We can test them. If they don't pass, they can go back, get them fixed, and add it in. It's the way it's got to be. We got to stand on the security controls, and that's really what this article is alluding to. Budgets are better now. Cyber budgets are going up, but whatever goes up is going to come down. It'll come down eventually. And a lot of times I see and hear a lot of people talking about their budgets already being restricted. Training funds have gone down. Money for tools has gone down. So you can't say in one hand, automate everything to make it better, and in the other hand say we're cutting the automation budget. Those two things don't work together. So you got to have a strategy. You got to have a security architect that's going to sit there and say, this is the direction we're going. And when somebody wants to buy a tool that's outside the scope of that vision, somebody needs to snap them in the line and say, we've got something, we're planning for something, or you're going to have to figure another way to do it because that tool is outside of our budgets, outside of the direction we want to go. So FSISAC, if you don't know about it, if you're in financial services, and sometimes in the government, you can go attend these FSISAC briefings, the meetings, the meetups. Now they're mostly virtual now. But you go there, they talk about a lot of other things. The pharmaceutical ISAC, whatever industry, there's usually an ISAC around it. These are just groups that get together and talk about risk and security and how to move forward down the playing field. So that's that one. It was we talked probably a lot more about it than is in the article. But check it out. As you know, the links are always in the show notes below. You can go down there and check them out, figure out which articles you really want to dig into more. Maybe you want to dig into all of them more. I don't know. Internet of Things, I love talking about the Internet of Things because it's a huge attack vector that we leave sitting out there. It's allowing automation of simple things within our environments. It makes life more convenient, which means as security, risk, and cyber professionals, we got to know about these things. We got to understand the Internet of Things. We got to understand how that Amazon Echo works. We understand how automation of lights, how Ring cameras and doorbells work. We need to know how the Nest thermostat works. How does that play into our cyber world? Because we have them at home. Small home office folks have them, and some organizations have a lot of these things. And if we don't have Ring doorbells and things like that, we do have IoT devices on our infrastructure. They're just more commercial. So we have to understand them. So our second article here today from, is it S? No, sorry. This one is from Help Net Security. Might be the first story we've got from them. But really it's talking about this new thought of how we can protect, not necessarily, in a way we're protecting those IoT devices, but really we're protecting the network so that infrastructure from attacks from the IoT devices. So we know a lot of times there's always a reason that a system is attacked, right? A computer is attacked normally to get access to the data, to use it for some other function, such as crypto mining or sending out phishing emails, to exploit it. That's either stealing data or something like locking it up with ransomware so that we can make money. There's always a reason. A lot of times with these IoT devices, they don't have a lot of data on them. And if we put them in the right place, they can't connect to the network. So we can't use them for a pivot attack into the rest of the network. But what we can do is we can install some type of software on them that treats them as a bot, and then we can use them in our attack platform to do denial of service attacks. So that is one of the key things that we're worried about with Internet of Things devices, right? We worry about this massive distributed denial of service attacks, or DDoSes. if an attacker can get enough Ring doorbells, for example, or enough Echo devices, they can use them to attack other things. And some devices are more secure than others. And that's what the article is saying, is they have determined that through network analysis, they can determine what type of devices end users have on their networks. And normally end users are going to run their devices through a network address translation, or NAT stack, on their perimeter device. So normally that access point or that cable modem that is sitting in your house somewhere that allows you to get on the internet, normally that's going to have something like network address translation. So it's one IP address to the world, and all your other devices sit behind that, and it's translated every time your Ring doorbell connects to the network and does something on the internet. It all looks like the same IP address to the internet. It's all coming from the same IP address. The IP address of that internet access point is the address that's going out everywhere. But this research by the Ben Gurion University and the National University of Singapore have determined that if they look at the packets coming out, even though NAT is on and all the IP addresses are the same, they can look at and analyze the packet and determine what type of device it is, right? And if the device is known to be traditionally weak in providing protections, or it's known to be a device that has a lot of vulnerabilities, they can start watching it more. And if you're thinking, pre-crime and the Minority Report, that's kind of what this is. So if they see a device, maybe you've got Larry's cheap old video doorbell on your front of your house, and we know that's susceptible to a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of patching has to take place, but it usually doesn't take place on a normal rhythm, then this method of determining vulnerable systems behind your NAT device gets your network flagged for possibly being kind of shut down during a DDoS. So if a DDoS happens and you've got some of these devices that they know are being used in the DDoS, the ISP can throttle your bandwidth, turn your bandwidth off, pre-defend the network. Even though you may not be vulnerable, they can't tell the patch status of your device. They just know you have a device that is generally more vulnerable than other devices. So it's like Minority Report. It's like this pre-crime thing. So yeah, it's kind of, it's interesting to see. We can determine not if a system is actually vulnerable, but does your system have components that are traditionally vulnerable. So you may be defending the heck out of them. You may be providing all kinds of protections to those devices, but based on that signature that's coming out across the network, the ISP can say, okay, your network is a little more high risk than your neighbor's network. And then should something happen, they can throttle you, they can turn you back, even though maybe you're not contributing to that denial of service attack. Interesting concept. It's interesting that they came up with this. I guess we'll see how it plays out. I've got some reservations around this. And the story ends, although our method is designed to detect vulnerable IoT devices before they are exploited, we plan to evaluate the resilience of our model to adversarial attacks in future research, one of the researchers says. Similarly, a spoofing attack in which an infected device performs dummy requests to an IP address and ports that are different from the default ones could result in missed detections, right? So essentially their profile of the devices could be skewed if you modify them, or if the attacker modifies them a bit. That could cause problems as well. So interesting to think about, that your ISP could put you on a list just based on what devices you have. I think of Tom Cruise, arresting your network for pre-crimes, I guess. Next up, one of my favorite organizations, CISA, with the worst name in the world, Department of Defense Cyber-Recon and the FBI have released that there's a new Trojan out. So this is named Taidoor. 3 agents say this malware has been around since 2008, so that's why I say this is not new. But previous versions of malware have been spotted in 2012, 2030, and detailed in reports that are linked in this article from ZDNet. According to Florian Roth, malware analyst, man, it's that Monday morning talking that gets you. With Nextron Systems, said this also goes by Taurus Rat. And when you hear rat, you know it's going to be a remote access tool or remote access Trojan, depending on what school you live in. They've spotted Taidoor being used in new attacks. This version has both 32 and 62-bit, 32 and 64-bit systems using a DLL or dynamic link library, according to the joint alert. It's got 2 files. The first file is a loader, which starts as a service, and then the loader decrypts the second file, which is the payload, the actual remote access Trojan or the remote access tool. So FBI says Taidoor is normally deployed together with the proxy servers to hide the true point of origin of the malware operator, trying to hide their tracks, right? It's been through virus total. Obviously, this stuff can change over time. Do a small change to it and it slides right through virus total. But 3 agencies have put out today a joint malware analysis report, or a MAR, that's linked in the article as well, that contains recommended mitigation techniques and suggested response actions for the organizations they want to improve detection, prevent infections, or have infected and want to remove the system from the malware from their system. I can tell you, I didn't go to the joint malware analysis report, but I welcome you to. But you know what this is. Have a defensive perimeter up. Have malware protection installed on your endpoints. Have malware protection installed on your servers. Keep them updated. Keep them fresh. Have end user training, right? Somebody's got to normally click these files. If it's a Trojan, that means somebody has to have action to turn this thing on. It does not say, the article doesn't go on to say, what they're packaging this thing with, right? So if it's a Trojan by trade, it's got to have an overt and a covert function, right? It's got to have the thing you think you're getting, normally some type of software that you don't want to pay for, or a movie, or a song, or something like that. And then the overt function, which is going to be this Taidoor remote access tool. And they're calling it remote access Trojan. You know, if you know me, you know I have problems with calling a rat a remote access Trojan. It is a remote access tool. The delivery method could be a Trojan, but a remote access tool could also be delivered by a worm or by a virus. I think that worms, viruses, and Trojans are the delivery method, and the things like a rat are the tool or the payload that's put inside of that delivery method. That's Jim's school of thought. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on how you think about these things. It is crazy. So yeah, I know this thing's out there. If somebody starts talking about it, yeah, it's new, but it's new because it's just improved. It's been around since 2008. Article talks a little bit about the joint agency. So the 3 agencies have recently begun collaborating on releasing joint reports about new malware threats. The first joint report was sent earlier this year in February, when the 3 agencies warned about 6 new malware strains developed by North Korean state-sponsored hackers. So I welcome you to check more into this. Make sure your defenses are up. Make sure you have your shields up at work. Make sure you talk to your friends, family, coworkers about updating their personal antivirus. Make sure they're running antivirus to start with. That is important. A lot of people, they don't run antivirus because they don't think they have to. They've got Linux, they got a Mac, and they think, cool, I don't have to have it. And even though you got a Linux or a Mac, we know there's viruses that are targeting those platforms now. And bigger than that, you've got MS Office probably on your Mac, and you've probably got different software on there, like Adobe Acrobat Reader on probably both of those platforms. And those applications, even though maybe your OS is hardened, those applications sometimes are the way in for the bad guy. So Make sure you're keeping things updated. Make sure you're training your users. I'm going to tie back into training your users all of the time. That's Taidoor. FBI in the news again. Let's move that over a little bit. So FBI's warning of a new wave of e-commerce fraud. It's an article from Dark Reading today. FBI is warning of a new wave of fraudulent shopping websites often advertised on social media platforms that take orders for a wide range of products and they never deliver. According to the FBI's announcement, fraudulent sites tend to offer prices considerably lower than the comparable legitimate sites and require payments, online money transfer, and display content and layout that's copied from a more traditional e-commerce site. So if it's too good to be true, and we say this probably every couple times a week on this channel, if it's too good to be true, you know it probably is too good to be true. You're getting your money taken. If you're paying with a credit card or something like that, it may be more than just that one line. We lost everybody for a second. I don't know if we're back. We dropped connection. I just saw it drop like crazy. I don't know if it's just our storm. We are in the middle of the storm right now, this hurricane that's coming up, a tropical storm now. Hopefully y'all are back. Somebody give me a ping, please, if you're all back. I saw the connection drop out to 0 and then come right back up, so hopefully it didn't start a new stream. So if it's too good to be true, man, you know it is. It is too good to be true. You're going to lose something in this. The article goes on to say, among the indicators of fraudulent activity listed in the notice include using top-level internet names such as .club or .top, web addresses registered within the last 6 months, and utilizing a private domain registration service to avoid personal information being published on Whoisit public directory. Like, you can't look up the people. A lot of people put their stuff behind a private wall, though. That happens a lot. So just know, if it's too good to be true, then it is. Good morning, Sarah. Good to see you. Nice to see you this morning. Thank you for letting me know the stream is okay. I did see it just dropped to 0. It kind of picked right back up. So you're out there, and you guys are probably not going to fall for this. You're probably not going to fall for this scheme where, normally this I don't know, cooker, this pressure cooker is normally $100. We're selling it for $30. Come out to pressurecooker.top and pick yours up. And all we take is Bitcoin, or all we take is a money transfer, or something that can't be undone once it's done. Just worry about that stuff. Worry about, put your common sense hat on. And that's what we need to tell our friends, our family, our coworkers. If it looks too good to be true, it is. It is too good to be true. Something you're paying for it in some other way. You're getting some other malicious code with software, maybe. You're never going to get the product that you bought. Maybe that's what it is. It's just one of those things. Just use common sense. If you use common sense, that's probably all you need. Need a coffee break real quick. Man, that's good coffee. I'm a big fan of coffee in the morning. You guys know that. Gotta keep you going. So that's what's going on. FBI is busy in the news. I'll say what you want about the government. There are so many groups within the government that are doing good things. Maybe the bigger pieces of the government are just like crunching along, but there's so many pieces that are doing good things, like the cyber division in the FBI, the IRS's cyber folks, the Center for Internet Security out of Homeland Security, and so many more that I haven't even mentioned, are doing good things. They're trying to keep us secure, and sometimes we're our own worst enemy. So as the security people, as the risk people, as the cyber folks, we have to share with our friends. Do the right thing. They may never listen to you, but we have to kind of keep pushing that agenda forward to get people to think about having TikTok on their phone. At least think about it. Don't just blindly install stuff. And I'll pick on TikTok because it's very questionable as of late. Speaking about questionable, we all dealt with this. If you were a cyber professional, security professional, a couple weeks ago, everybody was so worried about this Twitter breach, this Twitter attack. It was, again, people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Barack Obama sending out a message from the Twitter account. If you send me Bitcoin, I'll double it. I'll send you back double. Send me 200 Bitcoin, I'll send you 400. Send me 50 Bitcoin, I'll send you 100. It doesn't pass the common sense tool. This does not pass the common sense test. So what the attackers want to do is they wanted to get you to send 100 Bitcoin in, and then they were going to keep the 100 Bitcoin and obviously not give you anything back. So they had to get a hold of a way to manage these VIP accounts, right? And we know the list, right? The included list, they always use the same list. In this article, this one is from Info Security Group. Your normal list, right? So Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, Kanye West, and many others sent out these tweets that said, hey, if you send me Bitcoin, I'll double it. And it was sent, they used 130 high-profile accounts. And the way these guys did it is they spear-phished Twitter employees. And the article says they spear-phished them by phone. I don't think that's technically spear-phishing, but we'll be okay with that. So who was caught? 2 teens and a man in his early 20s have been arrested for the account hijacking and cyber attack on high-profile Twitter accounts that took place in mid-July. So 3 males, Mason Shepherd, Chewan, who's 19, from the UK, Nemia Fazel, aka Rolex, 22, of Orlando, Florida, and then a 17-year-old from Tampa, Florida. Obviously, they're not going to give his name because he's a minor. But these guys are getting nailed. I'm telling you, they're getting nailed to the wall. So Shepard's been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and the international access of protected computers. Fazeli has been charged with aiding and abetting in the international access of a protected computer. And obviously the way that these guys are going to get tried is a little different because 1 is in the UK and 2 are in the United States. So they'll get tried under the different systems, the UK systems of trial and then the US system. But the 17-year-old charges have been sealed, although the report suggests that he was the ringleader. The 17-year-old kid was the ringleader. So that 17-year-old had this 19-year-old and this 20-year-old kind of, let's go for it. 17-year-old kind of was the Tony Montana of this whole thing. And he's been charged with 30 felony accounts. Crazy. And he's being tried in the state as he's being tried in the state court as Florida law reportedly allows minors to be charged as adults for some financial crime cases. So he's being tried as an adult. So they've caught him. They said they received $100,000 from about 400 accounts. 400 folks. 400 folks actually transferred funds to these guys. Crazy that people did this. Crazy people. There's P.T. Barnum, I guess, said there's a sucker born every minute, and that's what these guys are playing off of. People do that. It's just not a sucker. It's just people are not informed and they're not thinking about what they're doing. They see something, and there's this call to urgency, like I'm only going to do this for the first 100 people, or I'm only going to do this for a little bit, and when I decide I'm going to quit, I'm just going to quit. That's a key indicator that this is a scam. There's that call to urgency. So you have to do it now. The article says, actually this is from the IRS criminal investigation. It's Kelly Jackson, who is the special agent in charge of this thing. She's from the IRS Criminal Investigations Service. She's a special agent there. She says, this case serves as a great example of how to follow the money. International collaboration and public-private partnerships can work successfully to take down a perceived anonymous criminal enterprise regardless of the illicit crime and whether the proceeds are virtual or tangible. The CI will continue to follow the money and unravel complex financial transactions. So they were able to follow the trail of money to figure out who these folks are. So they figured out the how the Bitcoin was transferred, um, and who it went to, right? Um, so she goes on to say the Washington D.C. field office cyber crimes unit analyzed the blockchain and de-anonymized the Bitcoin transactions, allowing the identification of two different hackers, and then they probably got those folks to um, roll over on the other folks. Yeah, greed and fear gets them every time. I'm sure that I'm sure that when they got these first two folks, one of them rolled over on the third. That's probably all. It's probably the size of the group that did this attack. And essentially, think about this kid. He's 17 years old. He's got 30 felony counts on him. I mean, his life is totally going to change. It's going to change for maybe, if they split this up 3 ways, $34,000 a piece. So $34,000 seems like a lot of money, but man, when you're talking about throwing the rest of your life away, crazy. And it wasn't a highly technical attack. It was a spear phishing attack. It was a social engineering attack. So that's always kind of sad, because had he used that skill set for something better, he could have been joining us in our career fields. He could have been one of the cyber professionals going out, maybe working for the very office that grabbed him. The cyber crimes unit out of the IRS. Hard to say. One or two different things in your life can totally change the outcome. So that's kind of the closing. I think that's the close. I will probably see sentencing. That'll be the final closing curtain call of this Twitter attack. This Twitter attack it's the story that won't die. I'm gonna keep playing it because everybody's gonna talk about this. Somebody at work today is gonna talk about, hey, did you hear about these guys that got captured? Did you hear they're all out of Turkey or something? You're like, no, they're out of Turkey. 2 are out of Florida, 1's out of the UK. You're ready. You're armed now with the data to get you through this thing. You can throw them the link. I've actually, in my day job, I've started copying the same links out of here and just sending them out as email, so folks that want to read up on this stuff can. But got to talk about the holiday. Today is a good holiday, right? A lot of times we have weird holidays. Like today is also National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, and we could be playing up on that. Chocolate chip cookies are awesome, but we're not going to. We're going to talk about it's the National Coast Guard Day. It's because it's their birthday. It's the Coast Guard's birthday. They're founded on this day in 1790. Makes them the longest continuous seagoing branch of the military armed services. And I know it's like, okay, how do we? They're not part of like the DoD. They can't be because they do some stuff that if they were part of the DoD they couldn't do. That's posse comitatus law that keeps the military from being able to do stuff against U.S. citizens. So they fall under Homeland Security, but they're a member of the armed services as well. They do have people that have done everything. They've deployed to many of the conflicts we've been in. There's Medal of Honor winners. They get the same, So they're kind of a weird organization in the fact that they have 2 roles. They have a military role and they have a civilian role. So they've definitely, when I joined the military back in the 80s, we were running around with blanks and learning to fight a war, and they were normally out on patrol boats with locked and load with live ammunition. So a lot of times we make fun of the Coast Guard. We say, the Coast Guard you got to be tall to be in the Coast Guard. That way when the boat goes down, you can just walk back to shore. A lot of jokes about the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard does a great, wonderful job. Been around for a long time doing good things. We're going to continue to make fun of them, though, because that's what we do. Space Command's coming up. Maybe they'll be the next one. But it is Coast Guard. I sent a link, put a link out there. USO's talking about the Coast Guard, what the Coast Guard's all about. Talks a lot about Semper paratus, always prepared. The motto of the Coast Guard. USO is another organization. I always donate to USO. USO has always been there when the service member needs them. So I always USO is one of my favorite organizations, and because we're talking about the Coast Guard, I'm talking about Adam Pruss. Adam's a good friend of mine. Unfortunately, we lost him in July due to an accident, health related things. Great guy, warrant officer. Enlisted in the Coast Guard as a young man, became a warrant officer, did great, wonderful things. He was a network geek for the Coast Guard, did a lot of things. When he retired from the Coast Guard, he continued to work for the Coast Guard as a contractor, doing great and wonderful things. So, hats off to Adam. We're going to miss you, man. We really are. And, Sarah, you're right. Most folks in the Coast Guard are, dirty, nasty legs. They certainly are. We know paratroopers always love to point out the fact that, if you're not a paratrooper, you are a dirty, nasty leg. That's just, I'm sorry, it's just the facts. It's just the facts. It's the way things are. Wish Mike Bravo was here this morning, paratrooper brother. So that's your rundown of the day. Awesome. That is great. I thought maybe you were a paratrooper couple. That's an awesome thing when you run across that. So that's your cyber news of the day. I don't have a product to talk about this morning. We are getting things together. This thing is. I put the link. I'm going to put it on the store just in case somebody. I don't really like the fact of the price we're going to have to pay for these just to recover the cost of shipping and getting the engraving done on them, and the cups themselves. The cups started out expensive to start with, more expensive than I want to. And I know they are a quality cup. This is my first time using it, so I can't tell you. It's been hot all morning for the last 2.5 hours, so I know it works. Arctic is apparently, the story goes, some kind of split between the guy that invented Yeti and his wife. I don't know the wives' tale about that, but it's a good cup. It's nice quality metal cup. Don't put it in the microwave. It's got a really good seal on this thing, and of course, we put the red, my favorite, the remember everyone deployed on the one side, and our logo, the Cyber-Recon, on the other. So yeah, just it would hurt. It hurts me to put that price, the price these things would have to go for, and expect you guys to pay for it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. I just they turned out great though. God, I'll have to. We'll talk about the folks that cut this and cut the water bottles. I think I'm in the same situation with the water bottles. I'll put them out there. I don't know. I kind of feel bad. Just the price of them. They are very, very high quality. They're good quality products. They're not crap. That's for sure. They're going to last for a while. So I'll think about it. I'll put them both out there. I don't know. I'm looking. You guys tell me in the show notes. What's the most? And maybe tell me this. What's the most you'd pay for a coffee cup like this? And it is an Arctic, so it's not, because it's got the crazy logo there. Decent quality, really good quality. Let me know what's your top price for a decent coffee cup in the real world, not anything crazy. Maybe we tie these to a fundraiser or something. Maybe that's the way we can do it. I feel a little bit tied up just because the amount these things are going to be by the time we got everything into it. Maybe we'll figure a way to source them differently next time. I'll put them out there. I really don't expect them to go crazy. It's at Swag. It's at Swag at Cyber-Recon.com. I think /swag I think is where the t-shirts are. Now the t-shirts like $15 with the same red logo and the RMF shirts. But anyways, we're rolling on, just talking about stuff. Hope you guys are good. Hopefully things are going well. Glad Mike's here. Always good to have a paratrooper in the morning. Glad Alex is here. Kevin, whoever else is out there. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for pushing the cyber agenda forward, protecting your friends, your family, your coworkers, keeping things secure, keeping things locked down, trying to keep the bad guy out, trying to protect our intellectual property and keep us secure as a nation. So anyways, that's all I got to say about that. guys, like Mike is going to tell us, go out there and get some. I'm going to tell you be safe, take care of each other, protect your folks, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Hopefully, maybe a little drier.